Hey, everybody. I'm Liz,
And I'm Rob.
and together we are Liz and Rob. Liz and Rob.
What did I say?
You said Liz Rob, but that's okay. Like cat dog. That's all right. That's all right.
There is going to come a time when we get this right.
That's
and
all right.
And you'd think with just a few tiny words, and it's only about 5 seconds long, we would have perfected it a long time ago.
No, but we used to think of it. I do say we used to say this because, believe it or not, Josh's first word was cat dog because
Yes.
he had a little cat dog toy that he used to play with in the bath, and not mama, not dad, cat dog.
Cat dog was his first
And
word.
so we used to think of ourselves as Liz Rob in a lot of ways. So we did use that, but we're Liz and
True.
Rob on the
True.
on the podcast. So you want to tell the tea you have?
This is, you have to remind me.
It's a
because
green tea with raspberry,
This is a green tea with raspberry. In my cup, of course, marked Tears of My Enemies.
and I have a golden milk, turmeric, and oat milk and honey and yummy.
With, is that Belle from Beauty and the Beast?
It is Belle from Beauty and the
Right.
Beast. Okay,
It looks like you're drinking liquid mustard.
I am not.
Okay.
All right. So now it's the time for the presentation of the secret
You
stack.
go first.
This is not so secret.
Okay.
This week's tea party, a friend brought so many pastries that I didn't even get to the stuff that I had baked to serve. So I brought home an entire loaf of blueberry bread. So you're getting leftover blueberry bread
Oh, nice.
from the tea
Excellent.
party.
And in keeping with the gift of the Magi,
Yeah.
you are getting a
Leftover.
slice of blueberry bread.
Well, that makes sense.
Yes.
All right.
So, surprise.
Okay. So as our little catch up, yes, I got the prettier plate. Thank you, my friend. As a catch up, I just wanted to we talk a lot about creating community, and I think this is a time when people are really longing for community, a sense of community, places where they feel they belong. And in the last week and a half, I had 3 different beautiful exchanges of varying lengths that took place in 3 different spaces. I work particularly to create beloved communities, so I just wanted to share those. So the first one was not this past Thursday, but the previous Thursday. And I'm wearing this shirt, Stonewall, for a reason. My uncle in the 60s lived a block and a half from Stonewall, and though we never discussed it, I have to imagine as a gay man that was a place that he hung out, and so it's a place that's become very special.
It was back then. It was certainly a safe space.
It was a safe place, I'm certain. And I had a friend say to me, "Your uncle would have lived a very nice, happy life at that point as a gay man in the West Village." So that gives me comfort, even though there was a period in my time when we weren't in touch. So a friend of mine, knowing how special the place is, had sent me this T-shirt. And so a couple of days later, the first time I wore it was into the park, and it was a decently warm day, so I had a jacket, but it was open and the T-shirt was visible. And a young person walked across and just said to me, "Thank you for your T-shirt." And I looked up, and then the person said, "Thank you for the T." And I don't know if you can see the logo in the T, but it's the trans.
I'll put up a still of it.
Okay, it's the trans flag. And that touched my heart. And as soon as the young person returned to their seat, the gentleman next to me looked down at the bags I was carrying. And for those who are not familiar, who've never been to a tea party, I usually carry 6 bags with me. And in the past, when the whole family was going in, we each carried a bag. And I have it down to a science. My left shoulder is baked goods. Right shoulder is like the tablecloths and the non-food stuff.
You literally look like. There's an old sitcom from back in the day called The Beverly Hillbillies, and you look like
No, turmeric stains. Don't make me spit it out.
You look like the car when they start moving.
Oh, no.
When they make that move in The Beverly Hillbillies, that is literally what you look like.
Oh, you're not wrong. So, like, I carry a bag of thermoses of tea, 2 on each side, and I have the saucers in one, cups in another. And I know so many people have said, "I want to get you a cart," but I go up and down the subway steps, and even bumping it, even though I wrap cups really well. If they jiggled, they would break. So I'm okay. I have it down to a science. So the gentleman next to me looked down and said, "It's a lot of bags." And I said, "Oh," I said, "I serve tea in the park every week and I'm headed in." And he looked at me and went, "I respect the hustle. Make your money how you make your money, but that is a lot of bags." And I said to him, "Oh, no, it's free. I just serve tea to people at the park." And he looked at me like with this quizzical expression. And I said, "Do you have, I don't know when you're getting off on the train. We're on this F train." I said, "I don't know where you're getting off, but do you have a few minutes for me to explain to you?" And he said, "Sure." And I told him about the beloved community and how it honors both my father, Dr. King's vision of the beloved community. And he just, it, we had this wonderful conversation. And we had about 40 minutes on the train together because that's about the length of where I'm going. And he said, "I'm going to carry your bags." And he had been up all night and he was headed home after having been up all night. And he was going to a completely different part of the city than I was. And he said, "Where do you get off the train?" And I said, 42nd Street. He said, "I'll get off. I'm going to help you with your bags." And I said, "Are you sure?" I said, "They're heavy and the elevator has been out." So he said, "No, I got you." I said, "But it's not even on like it's completely wrong where you have to get off." And he said, "I don't have to be anywhere important today." And he helped me carry. He took the heavy bags. I only carried the china. He took the heavy bags, carried them up to the atrium where we were, walked me in, and helped me put them down. And then he gave me the biggest hug. And one of the things I forgot to say, during the course of the 40 minutes, it came up that we had both survived cancer during COVID. And it was just this, we hugged each other. He told me his name. And it was just this beautiful moment that is possible in New York. And people who are not New Yorkers, I think,
Yeah,
yes.
people who are not New Yorkers listening to this, their first thought was like, he was going to mug you.
No, I know. And it was funny, but
and leave you in a shallow grave somehow in Bryant Park.
Anyway, and it was just such a beautiful exchange. And I know that people have been frightened about the subways and frightened about stories. And so the subway is a place that these days I particularly try to cultivate community and conversation. So that was one. And the second one, we live a block and a half from a Stop and Shop. And I go there a lot because I'll go pick up whatever I'm getting, and then I'll come home. The kids will be like, "Hey, did you get?" And I go, "Oh, I can go back." And some of the workers tease that they see me more than their coworkers. And it's another place where it's a real chance to cultivate community. And I know everybody's names and we connect. But one of the things I've started doing, I don't know if I said this on another one of our podcasts, but people have asked me to write about the community and what we do. So I've started writing a book about how to, on purpose, cultivate beloved community in public spaces. And what I do a couple of days a week now is I've been sitting and writing in the store, in the Stop and Shop. There's a little coffee shop. And if I write here, I get interrupted. But if I go there, I sit in a corner and I write. But a lot of the people who work there now know that that's what I do, and they come up and ask me. And just yesterday, I had two beautiful conversations with two women. One of the young women, who mostly is a cashier, came up and she said, "How's it going today?" And I said, "It's going well." And she said, "What's the beautiful thing you're writing about today?" And that's how she phrased the question. And so I told her, and it was really lovely. And then there's another woman who works in the deli section, but she's been wanting to get her cosmetology license. So she came over, she ran over, she said, I was going to text you, but I decided to tell you in person. I was waiting till you came in, that she got her license and she's really excited and she's going to, continue to work at the store while she sets herself up in that. And I loved that. And that was another hug. And then I have a lot of deep, beautiful conversations that happened at the tea party this week. But the one that I wanted to share, because it was so cute and sweet, there was a woman walking by with her family, and they were obviously in a rush. I know there's people comment. I always ask them to sit down, but I knew they wouldn't. But a woman walked by and she said, "Oh my God, the table looks beautiful." I said, "Thank you. We're having a tea party." And she said, "I see." And she said, "I have so many cups at home." And then she looked at me and she said, "I could have a tea party." I said, "You should have a tea party." And she just kind of ran off. But that really touched my heart. So I come together like to connect in this moment with you, having had these real, it's just, that's all in a week and a half, you know, the last week and a half, these beautiful encounters, because I know you do it as well in your work. It, it's very hard to build community. It's not easy, but it's not any harder to build beloved community, right? But in the spaces like the supermarket or the subway, that's not hard. It's not hard to have the one-on-one moments, right? What we do at the tea party takes planning and showing up and a lot of caring. But the smaller spaces, those little interactions where we can take a chance on connecting with a stranger, I think those are things that anybody could do.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And every community is different. You know, like we talk about out here on Long Island, there's a wonderful film community. They're a little more goal oriented, but their community because they have similar likes. You know, and so everyone wants to either make a movie or be in a movie, or and so because they're doing it for the love of it and not the business end of it. Particularly our sons have created these incredible friendships and future filmmakers, and it's an interesting thing for them to do. You know, like what you do at the tea party is there are so many people who come there, and there are a lot of people who come there because they need to be heard and they need to be seen. There are some people who come there because it's literally a meal for them.
Yeah.
They can eat, whereas that day they may not
All day.
necessarily eat. There are other people who come who are have some level of affluence, but it's just because the atmosphere is so kind and loving that's the place they want to be.
Yeah.
So your community is a little more varied than the community I'm in, but at the same time, but sometimes they do overlap. And I'd like you to talk about that because there's something you did last Saturday where those two things kind of overlap.
Oh, oh, okay. The storytelling.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's this beautiful community of storytellers here on Long Island. And it's interesting because I have so many friends who are performers, right? Going back to, we've told the story of how we met my friend Rich, who did stand up. And so many of my friends are artists and performers, and I am not. But
I'm going
years
to
ago,
stop you right
go
there
ahead.
because you keep saying that you're not, but you have been telling your stories in public to crowds of people for as long as I've known you. So I want you right today, make a promise to everybody out here to
Okay.
stop saying you're not a performer.
Okay. Yeah, I guess okay. I'm going to take that different. So there's a beautiful woman named Jude Trader Wolf, and she runs this great storytelling event called Mostly True Stories. And she invites people. It's a very sweet, lovely setup. She has 4 storytellers, and we're supposed to tell true stories, but they're mostly true. And she tells one of the 4 of us, but the rest of us don't know who it is. You're going to tell your story completely true, but the other 3 have to weave just a couple of little lies that don't change the story, but
Right.
are just details. Then the audience gets to question us, and they give out prizes. And so the theme was lost and found, and a little over a month ago, she asked me if I would just tell a story. And it was so much fun, right? There is something very powerful. The thing I love about storytelling, as opposed to maybe kind of the storytelling you and the boys do, which has been mostly narrative storytelling as
Right.
opposed to documentary, though they do that too, is it's my story. And I think there's something powerful about standing in front of a crowd telling your story and
Yes.
have yourself be heard. So that was fun. I do kind of like getting dressed and standing in front of a microphone and telling my story in a way and a format which is so friendly, so welcoming and connecting. Yeah, so that was kind of fun. That is, you're right, we're kind of the creative people
Right.
crossed over. Are there any stories that, yeah, I would love for you to tell them what you're doing with the boys' film. And I would love, are there any particular stories that you love of how you and the boys during the course of this particular film have cultivated community in a way that you're aware of, that's come back to you or you know of, if that makes sense as a question?
For the boys' film Violet Hearts. Well, for me, it's been a great opportunity to sort of. So there is there's an old adage when you make a film that says you make a film three times, right? You make a film while you're writing it, then you make another film while you're shooting it, and then you make another film while you're editing it. So I'm in the phase of making a film right now with the boys.
Right.
They have material already, but we have to cut a story out of this, and we have to make it compelling, and we have to give it life, and we have to discover which take of an actor's performance is the most vibrant. And sometimes that's not the best take, believe it or not. It's the ones
Interesting.
that will push the story forward, or will make that character seem more nervous in the moment, or more aggressive in the moment. It is a lot of very careful weaving of storytelling and manipulation of images, one against the other. There's look it up. There's a wonderful Russian artist. I think he's an artist or journalist. I forget his name, but his name is Kuleshov, and there's a thing called the Kuleshov effect, where he took a guy just staring at a camera, no expression whatsoever in his face, and then he would juxtapose it to like a baby. And when you looked at his face against the when you saw the baby and looked and jumped to his reaction, it looked like he was pleasant. Then it was like be a dead animal, and then him, and then it looked like he was disgusted.
Wow.
And so it's not.
I've heard about that, but I forgot it.
Yeah, so it's never about the actual reaction. It's about the context of the reaction.
Oh, I like that.
And so a lot of that, it's called the Kuleshov effect, and a lot of that is comes in with editing. And so there's a lot of that. There's a lot of just getting the scenes not only to work, but also to work in the style and the context and the storytelling manner and structure that the boys were looking for to begin with. So, when you're an editor, you also have to sort of get behind the head of who the filmmakers are, but at the same time trying to bring your own, knowledge of filmmaking, your own, wedge in bits of your own style in there to make the movie a third time.
And how well do you know the filmmakers?
Pretty well. Yeah, they're yeah. So I
and how easy are they to work with as
well, okay. So yes, I know them pretty well. I don't always get their names right, but they are actually quite easy to work with because I think we all like the same sorts of things, and even when we disagree, we talk it out, and things will work out. Either way, you can't go into it with an ego. You can't go, because I used to in the years and years ago when I was editing, I would edit and put together what I think would be, oh, this is amazing, this is great, and I would get all these notes back, and I would get so offended, but I was like, no, they have a certain way of doing things, and this particular client or company or, so I always I can't ever take things personally anymore.
And I have to do that on your behalf too.
Yes.
Right? Like, because you had shown me a cut of a scene and I loved it. And the boys came home and they were giving you notes. And I'm like, don't you think your father is perfect?
No. And then
then I have to remember.
And it's not like the notes are invalid. You look
No,
at it
no,
and go,
I know.
that sort of makes sense. Because they actually did workshop it. Not so much that scene, but the scene after. I know which scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they workshop with people. And it was a little confusing, the two scenes together. So.
Okay.
So that scene probably could stand alone on its own, but this is a larger, more complicated Kuleshov effect. The following scene needed more. You needed more context in the first scene for the second scene to sort of be clearer. So
and that is when I have to employ. I think you'll tell me if I'm not saying the prime directive, which is I do not interfere.
Yes,
I have to sit back and not interfere.
Right.
That was your first parenting tip that you gave me. Prime directive.
The prime directive, yes. I love that you are. Then this is only because you know me, that you're doing Star Trek analogies for life.
Yes. Only when it comes to interfering in situations which are not mine to interfere with.
Yeah, and I do this,
Yeah,
and I do
yeah,
the
yeah,
exact same
yeah.
thing. It's not like we go to you and say, "Don't get involved." We all,
Yeah,
you have to
yeah,
sort of know when to
yeah.
let them do what they do.
Oh, well, that sounds like a very good check-in, my love.
Yeah,
Is there anything uh, coming up that you'd like people to know about, or?
just still work. I'm working on an animated piece right now, which is really good. I just turned in a pilot that I edited, so waiting for notes for that. But that's pretty much it for now.
Okay.
I mean, it's still constant work. I shouldn't say that's pretty much it. I mean, there are 3 projects that we're constantly working on.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. I do not have any blueberry bread. I'm going to take one bite of blueberry bread. Your blueberry bread is gone. You can
Oh,
tell. You can tell who was talking the whole time.
Yes.
I was talking the whole time.
It's
Yeah.
gone.
So that's a good check-in, my love. And so we can end like we always do.
Yep.
I love you.
I love you too.
And we'll see you again on the next Liz and Rob.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.